So before I start talking about this, right, I want to point out that there's a lot of commentary about this online right now. But the majority of it is coming from an emotional standpoint. People are speaking from straight emotion. There's no facts, there's no experience, there's no nothing. People were surprised that he was convicted. I don't know why. People are surprised now that he's got 10 years. I kind of understand why, and I'll get to that, why they're surprised about the 10 years, but not for the same reason. No, I don't understand, because the reasons that they're giving don't make sense to me. But I want you to take that into consideration when you listen to all these statements. These are just emotional statements. And then you have a group of people who are online on YouTube and TikTok and all these other social media platforms who would lead you to believe that they know what they're talking about, that they have some type of experience in these matters and they have an expert opinion. Shout out to Matt Hoffa. I ain't talking about him, but I use that phrase. A lot of these dudes is bluffing. They ain't never been in nobody's streets. They ain't never even been on the sidewalk. They never came off the stoop. And you got to take that into consideration when you're listening to these dudes. So no, it's a couple of dudes out there. I mean, probably more than a couple, but it's a few that I know for a fact that's not bluffing. Like you can listen to Smitty Brim, Blow Dallas Network. He's not bluffing. Fuquan, Big Fuquan podcast. He's not bluffing. Zip with the Drip. He's not bluffing. These are dudes I know for a fact that's not bluffing. I know for a fact that they engaged in that lifestyle at one point in life and they paid the consequences for it, and now they're doing different things with their life. A lot of these other dudes I can't really speak for. Do your research. But with that being said, I want to talk about this Tory Lanez getting sentenced to 10 years. I do agree that 10 years is too much time, but not for the same reasons that everybody else is saying. First of all, let's be clear. Meg Thee Stallion did not sentence him. She did not convict him. She did not give him a gun. She did not tell him to shoot at her. She didn't do any of that. None of this is her fault, no matter how y'all want to twist it up. Let's get that out of the way. I think that 10 years is too much because the California sentencing guidelines are crazy. So in case you didn't know, he was given 6 years for an assault. And with the use of some sentencing enhancement law that they have, they gave him 4 more years for the gun. It's a gun sentencing enhancement. That's crazy because this is one act. And everybody always talks about how New York laws is crazy, but you're never going to get consecutive time for different aspects of one act in New York. That just doesn't go like that. You might get 10 for the robbery and 7 for a gun and 4 for some other shit, whatever. But all that's one concurrent. So whatever is the biggest number is the number you serve. 10, they don't add that up and pile it on top of each other and give you consecutive time. That is crazy. And in that aspect, Tory is a victim. He's a victim of the system, or the California penal system. It's ridiculous. But he's not a victim in the sense where like, he was wrongfully convicted. Let me tell you why I don't believe he was wrongfully convicted. When you Google Tory Lanez, it says Canadian rapper. I don't know nobody that refers to him as a rapper. Nobody in the streets, when you mention Tory Lanez, is going to say, yeah, he's a rapper. Tory's a singer. He raps, but he's a singer. He's not known for no gangster shit. He don't have a gangster persona, at least not in my eyes, and not nobody that I know views him this way. I don't know if he believes that he's viewed that way or if he's viewed that way in other circles. I don't know. But nobody that I know views him in this way. I say this to say I cannot understand how a person in his position making very good money, we assume, but making some money, performing, singing songs, right? I don't know if he writes songs, whatever he does. How can somebody like that sit in a courtroom and watch people take the stand and lie on him and say that he committed felony acts that he didn't commit, and him not get up and defend himself and not speak for himself? I don't believe it. There's no reason for him not to take the stand. Again, you could call him a rapper. Even if he's a rapper, he's not a gangster rapper. He has no code to worry about. He has none of that. Why would he not take the stand? If he didn't do it, why would he sit in the courtroom and watch people sit on the stand and say he pulled the gun and did he think it was a game? Did he think they wasn't gonna convict him or subsequently give him his 10 years? Like that's why I don't believe that He's not guilty. I just can't believe it. I don't understand why people don't want to believe Meg. They talk about all this shit. Oh, she was twerking later and she was... What does that have to do with anything? How she cope with things or how she deal with things, what does that have to do with anything? The lady said he shot her, shot at her. We don't know if she got hit with shrapnel, if it was gravel from bullets hitting the ground, whatever. He went to trial. He didn't speak up on his own behalf. What's the point? I've been in trial before. I know dozens of dudes that have been in trial. The only reason to not take the stand on your own behalf, the only valid reason to me, to somebody who has lived through these things, and know plenty of people who have lived through these things, the only valid reason to not take the stand and speak on your own behalf is that you have a criminal history and you do not want the district attorney to bring up your criminal history while you're on the stand in front of the jury because it will make them look at you differently. Somebody like Tory Lanez, without no, and I'm saying he don't got, maybe he does have a prior arrest. Whatever he got, it ain't nothing extensive. Somebody without an extensive criminal history, and even if I had a criminal history, and if I'm in Tory Lanez's position, again, a dude from Canada that sings and raps and makes money doing it, who's making enough money to take care of his family to do these things, he should have got on the stand. If I'm him, I'm getting on the stand. Me personally, I'm not getting on the stand for various reasons. One, I have an extensive criminal history, and two, I'm just not, I just wasn't raised that way. But I'm not Tory. So that's why I don't believe that he's not guilty. I can't go for that. Y'all can tell me whatever y'all want, but I'm not going for that. But he was not, like the 10, again, I was surprised at the 10 because it's assault, and he only got 6 for the assault. 6 was appropriate. The 4-year sentencing enhancement based on California laws is bananas. That's the only reason I think it's too much. All these other reasons that people are giving and they blaming Meg. I seen some model talking about Meg a graze on the foot is not worth 10 years. First of all, it is in California. It is. It may not be worth 10 years someplace else, but apparently it is worth 10 years in California. And if you engage in streets, that's why I say he's not a street dude. If you engage in street shit, then you should know the penalties of the things that you're outside doing. You should know the laws in the state that you're engaging in this street shit in. He did not, because he's not a street dude. He's an entertainer. He's a performer. And you allowed yourself to get caught up to believe, I don't know, in all this hype and all this. You're not a gangster, B. It's all right. There's nothing wrong with that. I got bullet holes in my chest and my legs and my arms and all that shit that I wish I didn't have if I wasn't running the streets on no gangster shit as a kid. It's all right, man. It's all right not to give years of your life to the system. It's years of my life I can't give back. I got a grown son who I was gone most of his life. It's all right not to do that, man. 10 years is a lot. I was unaware that California laws were like that. People always talk about New York laws and how our laws is crazy, but that is crazy. To get consecutive time for one act based on some sentencing enhancement laws that they got is bananas. And if you in California and you in the street, you should really know this. If you didn't know this prior to this Tory Lanez situation, you should go read some shit. Because this is serious. This is how they slay you. Like, I got slayed when I went to prison. And I got slayed Penal Law 70.25B. It was brand new at the time. It was so new that the judge wasn't even familiar with it. The judge had to ask the DA, bring that up here, let me see it. But the Penal Law 70.25B in New York states that if you're out on bail or released on your own recognizance for one violent crime and arrested for another, consecutive time is mandatory. This is what I got caught up in. And at the time, the judge was like, why are you trying to give this man so much time? I was already up north with a 7-year sentence. He was like, give him another sentence, run it concurrent, let him go about his business. They brought up this law, said I had to get consecutive time. He read the law. He told me, Mr. Williams, my hands is tied. They gave me 10 on top of the 7. I end up with 17. Kind of like what happened to Tory, except it's only one incident. In New York, one incident, robbery, gun, assault, all that, you're not getting consecutive time. It's just not happening. It's one crime. All of these things played a role in that crime. So if you catch a robbery and an assault in one incident, you might get 15 years for the robbery. You might get 10 for the assault. You might get 7 for the gun. You're only doing 15 years. They're not adding that up and running it consecutive. The top highest sentence supersedes that. It's concurrent. Everything else rolls up into that. How they doing that in California? It's beyond me. Shout out to Ha Davis, but it's beyond me, man. So when you hear all these other statements about, oh, he shouldn't have got, why he shouldn't have got? They ain't got no valid reason. They just feel like he shouldn't have got that much time. And my thing is, no. If that's what the laws in that state are, then that's what it is. Whether or not you like it or not, or whether I like it or not, that's what it is. If you in that town, in that state, committing crimes, you should be familiar with this. And let's be clear. She got grazed, whether she got grazed in the foot or the shrapnel hit in the foot or whatever, she lucky to be alive. Because bullets do what they want to do once they leave the gun. So if she did get grazed in the foot, or if that was shrapnel, or gravel and shit off the ground from the bullet ricocheted off the ground, that bullet could have easily ricocheted and hit her in the face, the head, the chest, the leg, and the artery, anything, and seriously hurt her and or killed her. So let's be clear about that. This is another thing that these dudes that never been off the stoop don't know nothing about. They don't know nothing about gunplay. They don't know nothing about the way that that bullets do things on their own. But that's neither here nor there. And I'm not glorifying the fact that I used to be in the streets or that the other brothers that I mentioned was in the streets. But it is what it is. We was there and we not there no more. So we have a perspective on these things that other people don't have. I have a perspective that I can share with you. So hopefully, remember that? Hov did that. So hopefully you wouldn't have to go through that. Remember that? That's what this is about, man. It's not about the glorification of this stuff. So come on. So please don't hit me in the inbox with that dumb shit. But before we leave, remember what I said. I don't believe he's not guilty. And the only reason I feel like he got too much time is because the sentencing guidelines is crazy to give somebody consecutive time for one act. Subscribe to the channel, like, share, tell a friend. Go holler at me on TikTok, same name, Still Tough Talk. Follow me on TikTok. Sometimes it'll be different content on both. A lot of times I post previews to these videos on TikTok, but there will be different content on both channels. You know, go check out some of these Brim, Fruquan, Zip with the Drip. Check them out too. Like, subscribe to them, share, tell a friend, all that, man. Still Tough Talk. Sometimes we talk tough. Sometimes we talk about tough topics. Sometimes we tough enough to tell you we don't care what you think. Either way, it's going to be some tough talk. Peace.